Only we could do it. Let me tell you the idea.
Right.
It's like where like we start like this youth league, right?
Right.
Like football league, basketball, football, softball, for girls and boys. I'm gonna get all the rappers to adopt a team.
Right.
Each rapper have his own team. Coolio have his team, Tretch have his team, I have my team, and we play. And the rappers the ones that put the money up. We get the field, we play. Right. We have like the churches come out and sell food.
That's real.
We had the fathers and the uncles and all of the men in the community. They do security.
Right.
Get their respect back for the kids and everything. Then we had the FOI come out. We had the deacons from the church. They do security. And we just play football, baseball, get that community spirit going again.
I'm with it,
Then on the weekends, we have block parties.
All right.
And every rapper got to get up. Every rapper, nigga, if you got a record out, you got to get up for us. You got to come do a free show for the hood.
That's real.
And it's like a little tour. So we do that. And we get all the communities back together. And I'm talking to Al Sharpton about this, some other motherfuckers with some power. And then when we do that, we register the voters. And if we can register them for Democrats, Republican, or Independent. Once we register the voters, we have power. Then we start going up to the mayors of these cities and telling them, look, we got this many voters in this city. We want you to do this. We want a community center. We start hitting up Nike for the free clothes, the computer stores for the free computers for each community center. And if they don't, then shit, that's how many people we have in those cities we can regulate. You know what I mean? If we telling the mayor, nigga, if you don't do this, then we ain't gonna do this. If we telling them we can clean up the streets, I'm gonna have all these tough ass supposed to be gangster rappers. We're gonna all get in the van. We're gonna travel. LA got to be the last place because it's going to be hardest. But we can do New Jersey, all of that. We're going to drive to all these drug areas, right? Imagine me, Redman, Tretch, Ice Cube, them type of niggas getting out, going up to the whoever's the main drug dealer on that block. Who runs shit? If we get out of a van, be like, what's up, nigga? How y'all doing? What's up? Yo, who the nigga that runs shit? They going to take us to that nigga. We invite those niggas to dinner. Invite them niggas to some Sean Perignon, steak and lobster, and be like, look, player, we asking you, not telling you, we asking you as a player to a player, can you please give us a pass to have these streets clean from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m., 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. Let that be for the kids. Let them the niggas be safe during those times. No gunshots, no drug dealers. From 11 p.m. to 6 a.m., y'all can have the streets back. But let us get the streets from these times. Then we can get these politicians. I talked to Al Sharpton. He said he can get the police to like chill out on those nighttime patrols if niggas can get the streets clean from 6 to 11.
Hey, and you know what else too though? When I talk to you face to face, I'm gonna drop some shit on you, right? Some other stuff too, right? But yeah, that's that, man. I'm with all that, right? And that's my type of work.
Yeah, we need power, man.
I'm telling you, hey, dig it, man. Hey, I'm telling you. We got power, man.
Yeah, we need power. Power is numbers, and it's like we rappers, man. While we don't have, we got the juice, we just ain't doing nothing with it.
Because it ain't collectivized. I tell you what. Did you see them cats in Chicago? I think they was GDs. They put people in the street.
I know they be looking out for me when I come out there.
And they be running. They be running people on the ticket like for councilman.
I know they got them. This dude, what's his name? Some nigga they just had out there, but he lost.
Yeah, Gator.
He came close. Gator, yeah. He came close though.
Yeah, them some good cats too, man.
I went out there. They be looking out for me, but they be gang. So like the one set want me to be down with them, and the Blackstones want me to be with them.
Yeah,
GDs be with them, but yeah, I had to run it with them in Milwaukee because that was when that little kid died. Yummy Sandifer.
Yeah, I heard you send a shout out to him.
Yeah, I did a show that next day after they just killed that kid.
Yeah.
Because you heard what happened, right?
Yeah, they executed him.
Right, they executed him, and I was out there when I did the show. The gang was in the fucking audience. The whole gang had like bought out the stadium.
Damn.
So I'm rapping to the niggas that just killed this little kid.
Oh.
And they all screaming out thug life, and I felt bad. Like, wait a minute, they got it twisted.
Yeah.
So I started cursing them niggas out. Like, y'all niggas is cowards. Y'all niggas cowards. Y'all killed that kid. Y'all niggas is punks, man. I hate all you niggas. I heard all you. Them niggas start throwing shit. We had to out in the stadium.
Damn.
It was tough, man. The whole gang tore up the whole neighborhood. But then I started getting letters from that area where all, like, the mothers, the girls was writing me, like, thank you for doing that because everybody's scared of these niggas. See, that's what I want to do.
That's right.
I want if these gang niggas ain't going to get straight, then I want to take them out the gang.
That's real.
Because if they don't, it's making trouble on us.
Yeah, because if you ain't part of the solution, then you part of the problem.
No doubt.
Therefore, you gonna be trying to whack us anyway.
No doubt.
See what I'm saying? So, shit. Business as usual.
That's how I feel.
But just for the forces of good, man.
Watch out for the shock, it's coming. that is something, again.
Black History Month you find
ridiculous.
Why?
You're going to relegate my history to a month?
Oh, come on.
What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? No, well, come on, tell me.
Well, I'm Jewish.
Okay, which month is Jewish History Month?
There isn't one.
Oh, why not?
Yeah.
Do you want one?
No.
I don't either. I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history.
How are we going to get rid of racism until...
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man. I know you as Mike Wallace. You know me as Morgan Freeman.
One can analyze the current system of governance of world affairs by examining three events. The first is the event of the 11th September 2001, which has indeed affected the entire world for almost a decade. We recall that at the time, suddenly the news of an attack on the Twin Towers was broadcast, using numerous footages of the incident. Almost all governments and known figures that mattered strongly condemned this incident. But then a propaganda machine came into full force. It was implied that the whole world was now exposed to a huge danger, namely that of terrorism, and that the only way to save the world would be to deploy forces into Afghanistan. Eventually, Afghanistan and shortly thereafter, Iraq were occupied. Now please take note. It was said that some 3,000 people were killed on September 11, for which we are all very saddened. Yet, up until now, in Afghanistan and Iraq, hundreds of thousands of people have been killed, millions wounded and displaced, and the conflict is still going on and expanding. In identifying those responsible behind the September 11 attacks, there were three viewpoints. First, that a very powerful and complex terrorist group able to successfully cross all layers of the American intelligence and security carried out the attack. This is the prevalent viewpoint, which has been supported mainly and advocated by American statesmen. Second, that some segments within the U.S. government orchestrated the attack to reverse the declining American economy and its grips on the Middle East in order to save the Zionist regime. The majority of the American people, as well as most nations and politicians around the world, agree with this view. Third, it was carried out by a terrorist group, but that the American government supported and took advantage of the situation. Apparently, this viewpoint has fewer proponents. The main evidence for this viewpoint links the incident with a few passports found in the huge volume of rubble and a video of an individual whose place of domicile was unknown, but it was announced that he had been involved in oil deals with some American officials. It was also covered up and said that due to the explosion and fire, no trace of suicide attackers was found. Regardless of each of these three viewpoints, there remain a few questions to be answered. First, would it not have been sensible that first a thorough investigation should have been conducted by independent groups to conclusively identify the elements involved in the attack and then map out a rational plan to take measures against them? Second, assuming the viewpoint of the American government, is it rational to launch a classic war through widespread deployment of troops that led to the death of hundreds of thousands of people to counter a terrorist group? Third, was it not possible to act the way Iran conducted the Rigi operations, fighting the Rigi terrorist group who killed and wounded 400 innocent people? In the Iranian operation, no innocent person was harmed. It is proposed that the United Nations set up an independent fact-finding group for the event of September 11, so that in the future, expressing views about it, to ensure that the different views about it are not banned from discussion in the future. I wish to announce here that next year the Islamic Republic of Iran will host a conference to study terrorism and the means to confront it. I invite officials, scholars, thinkers, researchers, and research institutes of all countries to attend this conference. The second cause for the demise of the existing world order is the occupation of the Palestinian territories. The oppressed people of Palestine have lived under the rule of an occupying regime for 60 years, been deprived of freedom, security, and the right to self-determination, while the occupiers are given recognition. On a daily basis, the houses are being destroyed over the heads of innocent women and children. People are deprived of water, food, and medicine in their own homeland. The Zionists have imposed 5 all-out wars on their neighboring countries and on the Palestinian people. The Zionists committed the most horrible crimes against the defenseless people in the wars against Lebanon and Gaza. The Zionist regime attacked a humanitarian flotilla in a blatant defiance of all international norms and kills civilians. This regime, which enjoys the absolute support of some Western countries, regularly threatens the countries in the region and continues publicly to announce the assassination of Palestinian figures, while Palestinian defenders and those opposing this regime are pressured, labeled as terrorists, and called anti-Semites. All values, even that of the freedom of expression, which in Europe and the United States seem to matter so much and are so important, have been sacrificed at the altar of Zionism. Solutions are doomed to fail because the right of the Palestinian people is not taken into account. Would we have witnessed such horrendous crimes if instead of recognizing the occupation, the sovereign right of the Palestinian people had been recognized? Our unambiguous proposition is the return of the Palestinian refugees to their homeland and the reference to the vote of the people of Palestine, all Palestinians, to exercise their sovereignty and decide on the type of government. The third cause for the demise of the existing order has to do with the outlook on nuclear energy. Nuclear energy is clean and cheap and a heavenly gift, which is amongst the most suitable alternatives to cut pollutions emanating from fossil fuels. The Non-Proliferation Treaty allows all member states to use nuclear energy without limit, and the International Atomic Energy Agency is mandated to provide member states with technical and legal support. The nuclear bomb is the worst inhumane weapon and one which must totally be eliminated. The NPT prohibits its development and stockpiling and calls for nuclear disarmament. Nonetheless, please note that some of the permanent members of the Security Council and nuclear powers, i.e. those who hold the nuclear bomb, have resorted to a measure. They have equated nuclear energy with the nuclear bomb and have distanced this energy from the reach of most nations by establishing monopolies and pressuring the IAEA, while at the same time they have continued to maintain, expand, and upgrade their own nuclear arsenals. You may have heard that in the current year, the United States administration has asked for $80 billion to upkeep its nuclear bombs alone. This has entailed the following. Not only the nuclear disarmament has not been realized, but also nuclear bombs have been proliferated in some regions, including by the occupying and intimidating Zionist regime. I would like here to propose that the year 2011 be proclaimed the year of nuclear disarmament and nuclear energy for all, nuclear weapons for none. In all these cases, of course, I admit that the United Nations has been unable to take any effective course of action that has been viable or meaningfully viable. Unfortunately, in the decade proclaimed by it as the International Decade for the Culture of Peace, for example, hundreds of thousands were killed and injured as a result of war, aggression and occupation, and hostilities and antagonism have increased. Ladies and gentlemen, very recently the world witnessed an abhorrent and inhumane act of burning the Holy Quran. The Holy Quran is the divine book and the eternal miracle of the Prophet of Islam. It calls for worshipping the one God, justice, compassion toward people, development and progress, reflection and thought, defense of the oppressed and resistance against oppressors, and it names with respect the previous messengers of God, like Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Joseph, Moses, and Jesus Christ, may peace be upon all the prophets, and endorses them. They burned the Quran to burn all these truths and good judgments. However, the truth cannot be burned. Quran is eternal, because God and truth are everlasting. This act, and any other act which widens the gap and distances between nations, is evil. We must wisely avoid playing into the hands of Satan. On behalf of the Iranian nation, I pay respect to all divine books and their followers. This is the Quran, and this is the Bible. We pay respect to both books, as both are dear to us.
But today I'm advertising for Black and Nobel.
Thank you. That's a big page.
One of the old guys that taught me everything that I knew about gambling asked me this. He said, Melvin, do you plan to have a lot of money? I said, it's inevitable. He said, do you plan to have women and different people call you from all different parts of the world? I said, yeah. He said, then you're planning in reverse. And I'm giving you a week to figure that out. I said, come on, what do you mean in reverse? And so I said, well, I'm not going to be able to figure that out in a week because I don't have the mindset. I know if I can't figure it out right now, I won't be able to figure it out in a week. He said, well, listen, this is what I'm going to give you. When you do something and you plan to enjoy it, you defeat the purpose. When you hit the number, you're going to like that. And everybody around you is going to like it. He said, you got to plan for something shitty so that you can stop it right away. You got to plan for the door to come off the hinge while the package is on the table so that you can make arrangements about that. You got to plan for little Joe to have his Uzi and you and your crew getting ready to get out of the car so that you can disrupt that. And he said, and this is the last thing that I want you to know. If you see me 30 years from now and I don't have any money and you got so much of it as scary as I do, and I ask you for some, or anybody else asks you for some, the only thing that we don't want you to do is die with all this information.
But it's in the book that you can get right here, Black and Nobel.
My name is Phil Leaf. I'm a professor at Johns Hopkins University, but I came by to see my friend Melvin Williams for his book signing. Because although there's a lot of things in his book here, what he's doing now in terms of really creating some stability in a neighborhood and creating opportunities for young people are things that I don't think he put in his book because it's a different kind of book. But he's really an invaluable person for us involved. He's been putting together some programs, one around trying to make sure youth understand law issues and what they should be doing if they get picked up. But more importantly, you just have to walk around with them and see not just the old people, but the young people come up to him and talk to him. And they sort of know what he used to do, but he talks to them now about what he's doing now. And he has a youth program running in his building. And that's sort of an important thing. He's being a positive role model for older folks, as well as creating opportunities for young people.
Do you think that we'll ever teach him in colleges or teach about him in colleges?
I teach him about him in college. I mention him in my course, and I'm sure he's in the law books for other reasons. But I think in terms of just him being an engaging person and helping link up folks that he knows and putting in a good word, I mean, when I do stuff in a neighborhood, if somebody like him says positive things about me, it goes a long way because people really trust him.
How do they respond when you talk about him? How do they respond to students?
Well, they sort of, I don't think quite understand what was going on, but they can sort of see, particularly when they look at what he's actually doing now, how people can change their lives around. But also, I mean, one of the things he's really known for is his word. You know, if he says something, that you can go to the bank on it. And that's an important people for both young people and other people to understand. Regardless of what you're doing, your word's your bond, and he's a lifelong role model for that.
Thank you very much for coming to Black and Nobel.
Of significance is, from the second part of the book, the first part is about the things that happened to me. The second part is called the Street Bible Appendix. Had I had a knowledge of the law at that point, I wouldn't have served 30 years in the penitentiary. It was my ignorance, and for that purpose, I know that many of these other young guys are ignorant as well. They must know these cases in here. They are the controlling Fourth Circuit cases and the Supreme Court cases as we speak. It allows them to know when the police tells them get on the ground in the middle of the street, that if they have not committed a crime, if he holds them over 20 minutes, then he's kidnapped them. They need to know that, and they don't, and it's sad. But I intend to stop any of those kids from serving 30 to life, which is what they're giving out now. They're not going to get the 26 that I got. They're going to get life sentences. I'm going to do everything that I can to disrupt that.
How important is it that you're here in Black and Nobel?
It's extremely important because that's what I'm about. I want to enlighten as many young kids as I can that their opportunity and their chance to be Melvin all over again is non-existent. For one major reason. When Melvin served all of his time, there was something in place called a parole board. In a case called U.S. versus Mastretta in 1987, they abolished the parole board. I and about 7 other crime family gangsters in the Lewisburg Law Library swore that we would never sell a grain of narcotics again. Why? Because none of us would ever be able to serve the sentences that they were going to get out. True to form, immediately thereafter, the first sentence that they gave out was double life in 30.
Fire starting in my heart, reaching a fever pitch, and it's bringing me out the dark, the dark, the dark.
June 20th for Gemini's born. Ain't no secret, I'm murdering anything I get on. Ain't no reason for surgery, silence so we can mourn. I literally leave a murder scene every time I perform. It's a state of emergency, been a bit of disturbance. Artists showing no courtesy, rappers out of his form. Should be locked up for perjury, lying about what you're doing. Selling your soul for currency, anything to get on. Hell is for an eternity, hope you know where you going. The industry full of wannabes, never will I conform. Light years ahead of you rappers, that's how they flowing in half half of the ones that got it don't even know what they doing. You out of rapping as whack as the rappers that you influence. So backwards half of the time, don't know if you coming or going. Your lack of passion for rap is the reason rap has been ruined. The fashion is where your passion is, that's what you should be doing. They claim they cut from the fabrics that they paint in their drawings, but soon as they get to eating your back and touching your growing. So riddle me, how many rappers physically drizzle with the ability that can mess with me lyrically, mimic or even mirror me? Hell, freeze over literally, wildebeest with the similes, metaphors and agility. Little you to belittle me, jealous of what I'm will to be. Still a beast with a killer speech. If it's mental, then it'll be typically easy as me on top of this instrumental beat. I'm a problem, admit it, you scared, I'ma make it hard to eat. Still a gorilla, kill it retardedly, solemnly swore that I will go get it. Scared when you ought to be, call a priest if you really should kill a prayer. And prophecy follows me through the wilderness. Father put me where I should be. Pray that the shorties follow me, but I ain't follow Chuck D. Give them vision so they can see, but Waka Flocka to them is who B.I.G. was to me. Tupac on that hologram could never replace the grief, and had he still been alive, you rappers would never be. Don't act as if you surprised, you know it as well as me. Just happen to be the guy that reported on the CD. I listen to artists and be like, man, he listen to me. Still your ingredients, but they don't wanna let you eat. Got friends that's envious of the talent cause I'm a beast. Mad at me for reaching the levels that I didn't reach. Fell off, I wasn't ready to feast. I walked away from the table and Drizzy said in his seat, knock it off with the fables for you put me to sleep. Gemstones for life's the logo with the speech. These artists are so-so, they just hiding behind the beat. The production is dope though, so it's harder for you to peep. And you fall for the bozos, spitting bars like they ain't weak on these blogs, and got the nerve to be sold to your Chief Keef. The way the industry dogging these elites, I'm appalled. Got the people in awe like these beats, and they fraud. They'll hop on anything dog with a sweet lead, like a fraud. Are we mentally all in a deep sleep? They've offended me, all of these bleep bleeps, with the gall to think they gon' limit me all cause I speak deep. But I'm Jaws, I'll eat anything, no, I'm with these teeth through the walls of this weak industry, targeting these geeks for the cause until I diminish them all, or they retreat or dissolve. I'm academically out of these boys' reach, I've evolved. Destroy any beat, blogging and retweet. I'll be dogging till I'm frozen and coughing and deceased. Lyrical miracle since they cut my umbilical. Still a fool with the syllables, guess you think it's a spiritual. I won't cook up a batch of these bomb atomic chemicals. Pick up a scoop and sling it right at you like some gorilla proof. Kill or shoot if you feel like you drill. I hope you gorilla proof. Still the truth, I suggest that you kneel and stoop. I can feel a new devil's poop, boy, I kill the roof just as easy as peeling fruit. Pitiful, I should still on you for misleading our little youth.
You're gonna wish you
gonna wish you
never had met me.
All you rappers,
tears are gonna fall.
All you rappers,
rolling in the deep.
All you fake
You're gonna wish you
MCs
never had met me. Tears are gonna
that's
fall.
misleading our youth.
Rolling in the deep.
Talk about the cars you ain't got, crack that you never saw, neighborhoods that you know you can't go in. You ain't real. Be yourself. It's gemstones. It ain't no question who's the elephant in the room. You gon' wish you never met me. Shout out to Adele. You already know what it is. Gemstones for life.